With master data information, it is possible to filter on logical dependencies in the information values. I'll show that by an example. So in this case, I have a city bike. It's a 7-gear male bike, aluminium, etc. If I enter my specification on this bike, I can see all the different specification that makes up the long description. And if I look down in my bike type city bike, I can see 2 different selections, even though I know I have more in there. And from my gear, I can see I have 4 different selections. And these are logical dependent. So this means if I delete my gear on this bike, I want to rename it, yes. And I look down in my bike type now, I can see I have more logical choices, meaning that the choices before were depending on my 7-gear bike. So if I select a mountain bike, for instance, on this one, like this, and I select my gear afterwards, I just need to rename it. And when I select my gear now, I can only select between 2 other gears. So it's possible to set up those logical dependencies. This also applies to the search functionality. So if I go back into my item window and I view my search functionality in here, and I've selected a template code male, meaning I can set up here the information I want to use for searching. Now again, if I drill down into my bike type, I can select everything in here, and I select one of them. Now when I select my gear, I can see I have only 4, whereas before I knew I have 6 different selections. I'll just select my 7-gear here, which means if I go back on my bike and select that, I can see I have only 2 choices now. So it runs both ways, those selections. So you don't have to select it in a specific order. Now I delete my bike again, and I can see I have all my gears in here. So the logical dependencies is a way of limiting the selection on values, information values, depending on other selection. And this applies to all of master data functionality, both on items, customers, vendors, lot numbers, etc.